Another edition of Summa Social Elite, hosted by yours truly, Donna Newman of Summa Social. Lately, we've had a lot of new clients from various industries like dentistry, real estate, authors, even auto mechanics and restaurants launch their social media this month and last month. And it seems the common question is, what in the heck do I post on my Facebook page, on my Twitter, on Pinterest, on LinkedIn? So today I'm sharing with you 16 super effective wall posts, and these are more specific to Facebook, but you can definitely adapt them for any social media site, whether it's LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, or even a blog. And these ideas will help you deliver better value to all of your friends and your fans. But before we turn the spotlight onto those sweet 16, let's go ahead and let me just encourage you that if you've got that nagging question about social media, or maybe you just need a little insight and assurance, and it's 11 o'clock at night or 4:30 in the morning, we are here for you. Our virtual training center in our Summa Social dashboard is 24/7. It's loaded with quick how-to videos and ebooks. As well, our YouTube channel has engaging training videos that walk you through the exact steps in how to be successful with social media marketing. Or, hey, you could just do the old-fashioned thing and just call us up and ask any questions. And during our time together, if you've got a pressing question, just simply place it here inside of that vertical dashboard that you have for GoToMeeting. You're going to see that you can actually click on questions. You can raise your hand. But if you put it inside of questions, then throughout our time together, I'll definitely apply the answers, or making sure that I give you the answers by the end of our time together. And then I developed the weekly webinar topics based upon client questions that are asked earlier in the week. That way, our time together on Thursday mornings is always relevant to what's happening to you. So kicking off the first of 16 super effective wall posting ideas is showcasing is connecting the dots with a story. And why that's so important is you as a small business owner, you've got a passion. But sometimes connecting that passion to an end user who has a pressing, nagging need for your passion, for your brand, for your service or your product is a little enigmatic. It's a little nebulous. So when you connect the dot from what your passion is to what their pain point or need is, you have a sale. And case in point here, one of the examples of one of our clients about a year ago, she's an author, and one of her books happens to be targeted to grandma and papas. So she writes a generous quote from Jean Parrott: "An hour with your grandchildren can make you feel young again." And that obviously really hits home with a lot of grandparents, which is her target audience for this specific fan page. So they go ahead and relate back. They talk about their stories. She gets to know them better. She's building a relationship with them. So by sharing a story, you develop likability and trust with your fans, and you establish a two-way conversation among a community, not the standard one-way pushing out of the content or your information, but your storytelling. And that allows you to connect the dots so effectively between what your passion is and, of course, helping them make that purchase. Then we look at number 2. And this is, again, another author, but an entirely different genre. So when you are looking to really demonstrate your strength of expertise, it is so easy to be able to put together a video because people get to see the whites of your eyes. They get to engage with you. They develop a rapport with you even before they call you. It's like you sell them in the video. And again, this is 24/7, long before they call you up. So that first conversation that you legitimately have with them is never a sales. It's just an affirmation that you're the right person. And then an affirmation for her that her using the medium of videos is working is that her target audience, one of her prized fans, responds that by saying, I just could listen to your voice forever. The messages are so amazing. So that's an affirmation that her passion is easily and clearly being transferred to her target audience. This allows her to have that instant gratification that people are understanding what her strengths are, but it also, again, because it's a video, it lasts as your 24/7 sales tool. And just a note about sociology. Whenever you have any of your branding content being delivered, not just with a PDF or a bumper sticker or a yard sign or a flyer, but when you have it delivered in a medium as engaging as a video, the social science has shown that 80% of that content is being retained. And 80% of that content over the next 2.5 to 3 years will be video driven. So this is a medium that you definitely want to get a jump start on. As well, whenever you're loading up videos inside of your YouTube channel and then syndicating it to your different social media platforms, that content originating from YouTube and then showing up on the other platforms are exact results that could appear in a drop-down menu when someone's searching for your target keywords inside of Bing, Yahoo, or Google, or any outside search engine. An engaging cover banner. This is pretty important because that's the very first impression that people get when they enter your business page on Facebook or when they enter your personal profile. And this particular client of ours, she is very well known within the state of Arizona and then Upper Canada for her real estate expertise. As well, about a year ago, she wrote a book on dating, which might seem, where's the connecting of the dots here? But for her, it's a passion, and she really wants to go out there and be a strong leader for helping people understand that if you're young and dating, or you're in your 40s or 50s dating, whether it's your husband you're dating or it's you're solo and you're trying to find your soulmate, she gives you inspiring stories. But here, by designing one of our cover banner images back in our Summa Social dashboard, she just put up all of her images, put in her text, and she loaded up this original cover banner to her personal profile. And that allowed her to have the power of the first impression, but then it said exactly what she does in very clear and also animated images. So case in point for her is when she goes into a listing opportunity with a new real estate client, to kind of break the ice, they know, because they've searched her, that she is an author of a dating book. And so often people have said, oh my goodness, I've got teenagers. What would you say to them? And so she can come up with an exact story that she's able to meet the need and answer the question, which then segues so smoothly into why she's there in the first place. But bottom line, this allows you to demonstrate what your influence is, what your interests are, and then people have an immediate takeaway with how you can benefit them. Then looking at number 4, highlighting a client. This goes back to that old science that third-party validation speaks volumes louder than if you were to say, I'm amazing, I'm amazing, I'm amazing. So here, when you can go ahead and feature one of your fans or one of your clients with something that has happened to them that's significant. In this case, it happens to be a real estate agent in northern Arizona. It's the Anthem, Arizona area. And she is featuring one of her clients' granddaughters who actually got a big blue ribbon for a dance performance that she had. So the interesting thing here, that's the art. That's the presence of wanting to showcase somebody within your fan base community. But the science behind that was we have all of the family and multiple friends coming over to this Homes for Sale in Anthem, Arizona page, liking it and engaging with likes and comments within that specific post because they wanted to be a part of it. It's like having a feature in a local newspaper. It's like being featured on the 5 o'clock news. So this allows you to have a groundswell of opportunity to talk about your fans, showcase your fans, bring more traffic, and do it in a way that models your brand. And of course, the bottom line for why you would do it in the first place is everybody loves recognition. Here's an idea for posting. If this is part of your brand, whether that's your personality or it's part of why you are so successful in your business, if you can link it down to inspiration, you're going to find that no matter your industry, everybody responds to an encouraging word, especially if you understand your industry really well. So case in point, going back to Chris Anderson, she has a personal brand that's known to be off the chart with affirmation and always encouraging to not only her clients, but her friends. So something that she's cleverly done is to put together a campaign Monday through Friday, and she puts together these images. So she takes these images of herself. Again, the science is she's branding herself as a credible person, as the leader of your premier team real estate, and she's giving all of her friends and her clients, as well as the fans of the business page, Your Premier Team, an opportunity to be affirmed or to laugh at something. And this just gives an exceptional opportunity for you to encourage them, because everybody needs that Monday morning encouragement. And then second, it allows them to see your consistency in your brand. You're positive. No matter what happens, you're going to find a way to get the job done. And that is a real testimony to what would happen should they choose to work with her. Now, this particular idea, adding a new photo album, is relevant to absolutely every industry, because every photo album that you load up on Facebook has an opportunity to have its own unique URL. So for example, if you're having an email campaign, or if you want a specific client to look at a new listing that you have, or if you wanted to go ahead and feature it on Twitter, here's an opportunity where if you load up an album and you put the exact title, full of keywords, an engaging description for the album, and then captions for each of these individual photographs, you will have an opportunity, let's say you're a real estate agent, to put up live listings, which will demonstrate what exactly is on the market and what are the features of that specific property, putting up multiple images of that property, and that one album is specific to a property. Or in this case, with one of our clients, Summa Realty Group, they had gone ahead and put up a community, Whisper Rock in Scottsdale, Arizona, where they featured homes that they had sold. These are homes that were on the market. And then when a user comes here, oftentimes they relate to out-of-state clients wanting to relocate to a more luxurious area in North Scottsdale. Then prospects look in here to kind of get a good feel of what the community looks like, the mood looks like of that community, or what a home could look like, the elegance of it. If you are a restaurateur, you could go ahead and load up what your Monday specials are, and then put photographs of each of them with the link and the email located within the caption of each of those images. Another thing is, if you are a clothing boutique, let's say, then you could put up, maybe there's a brand new spring line that you have. And when you've loaded it up, adjacent to each photograph, when you're putting in the caption, go ahead, and if you do support online purchases, put in the exact item number and maybe a link to that in your merchant services, so that people, if they like it, they'll have a chance to be able to click on it and go ahead and make that purchase outright. So these are very engaging, interactive opportunities just in a photo album. But going back to some of the things that you want to think of, always put your keywords or your buzzwords within the title and the photo album description. The reason this is important is because if someone were to put those keywords inside of an outside search engine like Google, your entire photo album would pull up as a search option for them to see. That's pretty important. And then if you make sure that within your captions of each of those photographs that you put in your email, or a link to the item, or a link to the MLS for the listing, or an email for you, they get an opportunity to follow up. That's a strong call to action for them to take action on that enticing presentation that you've given. And then if you have engaging photographs, you create a mental image for people that enhances their understanding and really takes them from interested to a strong call to action and conversion. And then just a note too, that as you load up each of these photo albums, obviously the most recent will appear at the top. But remember that when you go in there and you're in the edit mode, you can literally drag and drop the albums in order of importance so that people see them according to what you think is most important. Shout out to a team member. Now, a team member could be something like what Karen, the owner of Lincoln Talent and Marbles Kids in Colorado, has put together. She is talking about one of her team members having a birthday. Or it could be as effective as, maybe, let's say you're a real estate agent and you have an exterminator or an inspector who's just done a whiz bang of a job in helping everything very efficiently follow through the process. Then you can go ahead and maybe feature them and their company, hyperlink the message to their business page. And this gives them an opportunity to be promoted to your fan base, but it also gives your fan base an opportunity. Maybe they would need an exterminator for just every day, once every 3 months, to be able to come in and service them. Well, because you have this exterminator or inspector on your team, it's not a competition to you, but it's an added value if you were to generate more business. And it shows the strength of your team, that when people work with you, they are bound to get only the best of vendors to service them through that entire process. And then kind of a note here is that people better value a service over cost when they hear good stories from other people that they can relate to. So whenever you can put a shout out to someone on your team, or an encouraging word, or a thank you, then they're going to realize that no matter what it costs, and maybe you're competitive, or maybe you're a little bit more, or maybe you're less than, but cost is never going to be an objection that they're going to have to overcome, because your service is so, so good. Be a consumer advocate. And this goes back to another Phoenix realtor and an investor. Here's an opportunity where she was a few days away from showcasing her brand new listing and having an open house. And it turns out that they were having ants galore. The homeowners didn't know what to do other than to go to Home Depot and just get some of those terrible chemicals to be able to eradicate all the ants. They certainly didn't want to have that greeting the new open house visitors. So what does this particular realtor do? Well, she decides that certainly you could go to Home Depot, but if we've got a little bit of time and the homeowners were more prone to do something natural, she actually had these exact ideas of how to do it. And it was organic. It didn't affect the little babies in the house. And so then she realizes, because it was effective in the real world, on the very sidewalk of one of her clients, she decided to use this as a natural opportunity to add value to her Facebook page. And as you can see in the first few minutes of her posting this, that I caught it in my news feed, she had 5 people like it. She had 7 comments plus the 2 that you see there. And she has people engaging with her. And really what the science behind all that is that it again affirms that when it comes to household needs or homes that are being shown or bought within that area, she is an expert. And she really delivered value to her client as well as benefits to her Facebook fans. A mutual interest pet peeve. I always think this is really fun when you can identify what a nagging question is within your target audience, because that is that classic climax where they say, oh my goodness, there's an epiphany, I finally get it. And it's you understanding what they need or what they don't get, And then when you connect the dots for them, they finally feel as though someone has understood them to the point that they're now going to be more effective in putting to action what your suggestions were, but then in yielding more bottom line value. So in my industry, this is one of my favorite cartoonists, marketoonists, and this is so true. The sales are plummeting. I mean, not always the case, but there are times in your day, in your month, when the sales are just kind of going down, and you're forecasting them, wishfully forecasting them to just skyrocket on a nice straight diagonal, going up. But then we have one of these classic people, and maybe that's you at times. I've certainly felt that, who says, okay, so what if our video doesn't go viral? And so often that's the art of when I can identify with them. You know what? I got you, buddy. I understand. So then I drill it back down to the science. Okay, so this might be what you're feeling, but then let me just show you how we can assure that within your community or within your target audience that it can go viral. So when you've got the art of being a little bit comical and making that true connection, and then you back it up with the science of maybe it's an exact how to, or this is how we get it done, and this is the outcome, then you're going to get more engagement with likes, comments, shares on your Facebook page because other people are benefiting from what you're doing. And kind of something here to think about too is when you're scratching your head wondering what is a mutual interest or a pet peeve, you get out of your own shoes as a business owner of your industry and get in the shoes of what your end user or your consumers is thinking about. Maybe, and one of the best ways to do that is really just to listen to your clients and then be able to understand, okay, so this is what they need. This is what is their pain point. These are the funny things that really kind of make them connect with me. And then get back in your own shoes as a business owner and then be able to connect that dot. Oh, you know what? I understand. And then when you do that, you help them feel affirmed that they've been understood, but more importantly, feel encouraged that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And here we're looking at polls or a trivia question. Now, polls and a trivia question is very effective when you have built a consistency within your target audience. That being that every day or multiple times throughout the week you are posting, and it's not just on the whim, but it's consistent. Fans know that you're going to be in their news feed. They anticipate you. And so this is a case in point. 2 years ago, one of our clients in Jersey, VIP ticket company, much like Ticketmaster here in Arizona, in case you're from Arizona. But he had posted a poll. This was right before the Super Bowl. Who will gain the most yards on the ground in the Super Bowl? So he had quite a bit of engagement. And by having this engagement, he didn't sell tickets right in his post. He didn't say, hey, if you want tickets for the Super Bowl, but he was clever about asking a question. And then there was a follow-up to the other comments that I didn't put on there because I just couldn't put the whole image on the page. But people had asked, hey man, where do I get tickets? Or what's the going rate for tickets? Or can you get me a good package for this many people? So as he began to put in the art of people wanting to share their opinion, and everybody wants to be Monday morning quarterback and participate in what's going to happen. And fans are so zealous when it comes to football, let alone the Super Bowl. So he took advantage of that, but then at the end of his post, he ended up selling more tickets to the Super Bowl, more packages to the Super Bowl. And so everybody loves a fun fill-in-the-blank action or to give an opinion, especially when you couple participation with the prize, and he did at the very end. And then make sure that when you do ask a question, that your question or your poll resonates the message of your brand, so that you connect the dots. Again, you're trying to keep people targeted to why you're there in the first place. So just understand really what is the sweet spot for your fans. Here's a powerful tool for demonstrating your credibility and value by going ahead and bringing on third-party people to be a part of your campaign. Case in point, we had asked one of the most fantastic marketers when it comes to social media, Lon Safco, to join us on 2 webinars. One was called Fusion and one was social media specific. And he gave us an opportunity to really branch out, not only to our fan base, but branch out to fans of fans, and then to target his own audience so that we could show more of his audience kind of ideas and also products that he wasn't delivering to them that we could deliver to them. So he featured us for our marketing plans. He featured us for our social media pages, for our designing of our websites. And we were a support to him because he doesn't do that for his audience, but his audience wants those tangibles. And for us, he gave us an opportunity to have a national speaker come on to our fan page and talk about what are the leading trends in social media marketing. And then what does fusion marketing mean? How do you integrate traditional marketing with fusion? So bottom line, this allowed us to get more traffic to our business page, more people wanting to seek us out. We had an influx of new followers and people who were ultimately interested in purchasing from us. So if you can think within your genre, your industry, who might that be? Maybe it's going to be identified with a post and a photograph, maybe a little bit of text. Maybe that's going to be a video. Maybe it's going to be a webinar. But whatever it is, if you can identify other people within your sales cycle, maybe other allies, other industry leaders that are a complement to you, not competitor of you, then you've got an opportunity to be able to showcase your strength and stamina for what you do that much better, because Lon Safco is a huge advocate of Summa Social, and he shows it every time he gets on webinars, independent of the 2 that he did for us. Here's an example of a client about 2.5 years ago. She actually is a nonprofit. And one of the things that she found is that whenever she would stay in touch with industry trends that were happening within young people, and she needed to give hope to young people, she actually stayed on top of magazine trends, the news trends, and on top of the social media content. Well, here she had an opportunity to team up with not only a magazine that featured her particular interest, but it gave her an opportunity to team up with different social workers within the community who understood how to help young people go through some really troubled times in their life. And by doing that, she was able to connect the dots between what those professionals in the industry were doing, and she brought them on her business page. So getting found online means having searchable content within your posts and being social. So that searchable content are the multiple steps that she was featuring that week. And then you can see in quotation marks, these are exact titles of specific speakers that are very well known for that content out within the community. So when you offer what your fans can't get anywhere else by watching industry trends and local news, then you will be the one whose posts within their newsfeed will not be skipped over. And one of the best ways to assure that you do not miss anything that's happening out there is to set up Google Alerts. And I suspect all of you have a Gmail account, because if you've worked with me, then I've had to establish your YouTube, and YouTube forces you to have a Gmail account. So you just go into google.com on that generic homepage and you set up alerts. And when you identify keywords, then Google is going to give you blogs, tweets, Facebook posts, maybe articles, maybe TV shows, videos that have been posted relative to your specific keyword. And that's a benefit, because as a small business owner, if you're like me, you don't have a lot of time to be able to think, oh my goodness, what am I going to say and what's happening out there? But when you've got content coming into your Gmail inbox, this is a huge help. And if it's specific to what your niche is, when you talk about what matters to your fans, they're going to rely on you for your expert insight. And then Google will index what you write on your business page. So it's a pretty cool win-win. Looking at Fan Friday or case studies, this kind of goes back to showcasing one of your fans, but Fan Friday would be specific to one of your clients who's actually put into action one of your products or your services or your ideas. And oftentimes, or recently actually, I've had that privilege both with Chris Anderson as an author and then Julie Farha as a speaker and an author. In the last week, I've been able to feature both of them where they've put into action some of the very tactics that I taught them. And they did it with their own flair and their own personality. And they got a groundswell of support. Chris going to the top of Amazon and Julie Farha making a fantastic presentation last night to her target audience. So when you have an opportunity to be able to showcase, if you're a realtor, one of your clients who has just made a closing in record time, if you're an author, that might be, for example, with Carol Cook, she's a women's author. It might be someone actually utilizing her book for a women's Bible study. So if you can keep in touch with your fan base, and again, that goes back to you building a consistent posting rapport with them, then they're going to be likely willing to share with you some of their outcomes by using your content. And this particular case we featured, I think this was a little over 2 years ago, one of our clients who actually put to practice the very tactics that we had taught her, Amber Bridges of Bambati, and now, this was 2 years ago, she actually had started a business and the sole marketing campaign was on Facebook, and she was finding that by having a business page, adding value relative to what her clients wanted, she was getting a little under 50% conversion for every fan coming in wanting to use her services to some degree. And now fast forward, here we are 3 weeks ago when she's just won multiple awards in fitness contests in Southern California that now she's become a part-time news contributor to some local TV stations out there. And the fun thing was is that she had an article featuring her, and I was one of the 3 people that she mentioned to have been an inspiration to her. So it can come back to you and that they actually recognize you and one of their contents. But bottom line, when you've got a Fan Friday or a case study, you show the outcome of what happens when people use your service. Here is something I want to talk to you about. So often people say to me, especially when I'm working with them in that design stage, they say, well, I don't feel quite comfortable asking someone to give me a testimonial. So testimonials are pretty important because it demonstrates that what you do has value. And you can have that testimonial come up with their headshot and a photograph, or you can have it in a video, and you can create an entire photo album on Facebook that is titled Testimonials, or Look Who's Talking About your name or your business. And then when you've got a photo and a caption, you have an opportunity to showcase them. If you're friends, you can tag them and they can share it to their profile, whether it's personal or business. And it allows you to not only be commended by someone who's used your service, but in this case, you can actually target their friend base to want to go ahead and use your service, your product, buy your book. 16. Sometimes you just got to make the obvious connection between your product, benefits, and them making that ultimate purchase. Because too often they've got objections or common excuses like, oh, I just can't afford it, or I'm way too busy to even try it. But one of the ways to thwart that is by identifying cleverly a connection between what you do and what they need. And this is one of our clients in Jersey that was a grocery store, kind of like a Whole Foods, and they said, hard at work on our new juice bar menu. We think you're going to really love it. There's even a new section just for kids with fun names like the chimpanzee. So they've got new interesting smoothies named after engaging kids' names. So here they had an opportunity to build what's new. They got to share what's new, and they had an opportunity to even have Lisa, Rudy, Madeline say, "I'm so there." But it allows the fans to be rekindled with their enthusiasm of going back to Dean's Market. Or so often when you're a realtor, there's too much time gap between when you service them and when they would need you again. So you want to make sure that you provide a service for them in that intermediate time. Maybe you could be the recommender of an exterminator. Maybe you could actually be um, someone, maybe they brag about you to one of their friends, and then that referral comes back to you. So in between the time when a client does not need you, they can be that raving referral, but you need to give them content on what to brag about. And then finally, we look at an exact realtor, and I want to show you, this can be identified in any industry, but I want to show you how to integrate a new happening within your personal profile and your business page. So Brent Humphreys is in Southern California, every bit an engaging personality on his personal profile, and he is fantastic about not pitching and selling in the traditional way with his content on his business page, but he does it in a very clever way that keeps you engaged. So here he does the throwback photo, and I'm certain it must have been on a Thursday, that throwback Thursday theme. So he's talking about Joshua, Jacob, and Zachary checking out his new bouncy open house signs, which were accompanied by an inflatable branded commercial bouncy house and aerial blimp from early days of my time in Remax. So he's every bit, again, the science is he's demonstrating that I'm a realtor, I've been a realtor, I do great business, I do it cleverly, I'm fun to work with. And yet he's then showing the art of something fun. And this was his brand new cover photo that he had loaded up that appears at the top of his business page or his personal profile, but then it threads through a wall post and into the newsfeed. Also, in the green circles, I want you to know that Brent is every bit not a ghost. So he makes his original post, but then he comes back as he gets notified of likes and comments within this post. He comes back and he likes their content, or he creates that conversation. So it's not a billboard out there, if you will, but it is an engaging two-way conversation. And it is impressive how Brent, when he's ever present within this topic or this comment, he then brings people to wanting to use him. So literally off of his post on his personal profile, he rekindles relationships with people and then gets listings. And then going over to Humphreys Homes, which is where his business page is, this is where he's talking about a brand new listing. So Humphreys Homes is pleased to provide a sneak peek of a new listing in San Diego. He talks about, again, this is going back keywords, he talks about the amenities of the home, but he does it in engaging keywords that people would use when they're searching for a home within that initial Google search. Keep that in mind. And then, of course, he's ever present. Someone says, how much can you not say yet? And then, isn't this is like the cherry on the top when a real estate agent can say, this home will be introduced at this price point. That's perfect. So you can talk about anything. Maybe it's a new happening, a new listing, you're closing early, you've got a dental CE class, you have a brand new book launch, whatever it is, it allows you to deliver value, but do it in a clever way. And it looks like the questions that you have put inside of the comment area, I've gotten and answered most of them. So the good news is when clients or prospects search in any search engine, like the traditional ones, Google, Bing, Yahoo, for your general topic or keywords, your Facebook posts, guys, can be featured in the drop-down menu of options. So here, when you consistently engage on Facebook with your Facebook page, you not only feed the outside search engines with relevant content, but you build a personal brand and a business brand worth following and worth buying. So again, if you've got any questions relative to our time together here, or if you have any questions that are a little bit nagging, feel free to go ahead and post them on the Facebook page. Just type in Summa Social in the Facebook search box, or post your questions in the Summa Social Elite group on Facebook. And if you don't happen to be a member of that, certainly just request and I'd be glad to add you. With today's webinar, the 16 super effective wall posts, and all of the additional resources that we're providing you for your social media success in the Summa Social dashboard. These are things that you can actually do something with, these tactics, literally when you get off this webinar. So thanks, everyone. Really appreciate your time. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll look forward to being with you next Thursday at 9:30.